Puzzle pieces. It is time for the defense's case in the Charlie Adelson trial. The day of two crimes, according to Daniel Rashbaum. The day Dan Markel was murdered and the day Charlie Adelson was extorted by Katie and her friends. In today's video, I go through what Daniel Rashbaum identified are his puzzle pieces. Now, to my best estimation of the opening statement, the puzzle pieces are either things that are going to go to their extortion theory or things that are going to go to reasonable doubt. I guess you could say where puzzle pieces fit or puzzle pieces don't fit. All right, let's go. All right, the first puzzle piece is the Hitman Joke. And this is a piece that I think doesn't fit its reasonable doubt because it's a joke. And where this came about was in 2012 when Charlie bought the TV for Wendy as a divorce present. They were on the phone and she thanked him for the TV and he made this bad joke that it was cheaper than hiring a hitman. And Rashbaum said he repeats that joke a lot. And he says Charlie jokes about it as late as March of 2014. And I think this is Rashbaum trying to say that the Yardbird dinner was where he made that joke for the last time. But no one so far in the testimony has really recalled that. So in any event, but the idea is that the man that they think was a hitman is joking about hiring another hitman. And the whole point is that it's a joke, but he tells us to keep that in the back of our mind. Now, it's going to come down to whether the jury believes this constant repeating of this joke is just that, or whether they believe that this was the Adelson's final kind of last-ditch effort of what to do with their Danny Markel problem. Now, do you believe Jeff Lacasse? Remember his testimony the week of the murder when he said that this was a different statement, it wasn't a joke? Do you believe the state's theory on motive, that both Wendy and Donna were freaking out about these counter motions that Dan had filed, and that was leading up until the date of his murder? All right, the second puzzle piece I'll call the $1 million bribe. And the theory of this is at the time of the murder, Charlie had a lot of money. And he had a lot, in fact, Rashbaum said that he had more money than his parents at the time. And his parents actually asked Charlie if Wendy could borrow her third from this $1 million from Charlie. So he told us to put it in the back of our mind, like the Hitman joke. Now Rashbaum says that Charlie told Katie about the $1 million offer. And he even said that he told Katie he could pay the whole thing in cash. And she even said, wow, that's a lot of money. Again, going to this extortion theory. And so their theory is that these three killers knew Charlie had a lot of money, and so therefore he was perfect for an extortion. But what about the other theory, that there's this rich family with lots of disposable income ready and available to hire a hitman to get rid of their Danny Markel problem? Also, I question whether Charlie was really rolling in the dough compared to his parents at the time of the murder. So I'd like you to check out this public record. Now, ultimately, this was resolved and the bank withdrew its foreclosure judgment on May 14th, 2014, just a short while before the murder. And this was because on May 2nd, 2014, Charlie did a quick sale of the property to its current owner, which is a limited liability corporation, with the owner's mailing address being that of Harvey and Donna Adelson. Now, puzzle piece 3. Sigfredo hated Charlie Adelson. And Rashbaum brings up two incidences of this hatred in his opening statement, and I think this is going to go to reasonable doubt. And Rashbaum even says that the state's witnesses are going to testify that in March 2014, Sigfredo tried to kill Charlie Adelson. Now, we had Ryan Fitzpatrick that did testify that Charlie mentioned to him that the father of Katie's kids had looked into running him off the road in 2014. I think what's even more compelling statement for the defense on this issue is Luis Rivera. And Rashbaum got some good testimony from Luis Rivera regarding this hatred, supposedly by Sigfredo, of Charlie. And he got Lewis to agree that Sigfredo told him that Katie was cheating on him with a dentist, that he was apparently devastated by this. He was drinking a lot, he was doing drugs. And he even said that Sigfredo had told him that Katie would only take him back if he would do this job for her. Also, regarding the Yardbird dinner, Lewis testified that they were in Sigfredo's Dodge Ram, and Sigfredo was drinking, and he could see the people from outside. And you'll recall that Jeffrey Lacoste testified that they were sitting outside on the deck, and Lewis said that Sigfredo pointed out Katie at this dinner with the dentist, and he actually told Lewis he was going to run Charlie over, and Lewis told Sig he's going to get out of the truck if that happens. So again, now Lewis was not aware of the July 1st jet ski incident, which is the second example the Rashbaum gives of this hatred. But I mean, I think that that is good testimony that Rashbaum was able to get on this motive idea. Now, in the July 1st incident, this is when Sigfredo calls Harvey's phone and leaves a voicemail. And Rashbaum says that the state doesn't understand the significance of this. This is where Sigfredo allegedly tried to run Charlie off the road, and he threatens him. And he's so upset that he calls the Adelson Institute, not realizing that that's not Charlie's office, that's his dad's office. And he gets an emergency number, and he calls that number thinking he's calling Charlie. And during that call, Rashbaum argues that Sigfredo threatens who he thinks is Charlie, and he says, if you keep dating, we're going to go a mano a mano. I'm going to kill you. Now, I think the argument's going to go something along the lines of Charlie would never conspire and plan a murder with someone that hates him, particularly someone that's going to kill him. He's not going to hire that guy to be the trigger man. And look, Sigfredo's best friend said he wanted to hurt the dentist, so it makes more sense that this is an extortion. He hated him. Of course he's going to extort him for money. He's not going to conspire with this guy to actually kill his ex-brother-in-law. What do you think? Now, the next puzzle piece talks about the timing of the murder, and Rashbaum makes a lot about the fact that in the June murder attempt, Luis Rivera testified that he didn't want to do it because Dan had custody of the kids. And Rashbaum continues that theory by saying, look, if Wendy wanted to have, a hitman kill her ex-husband, why would she do that when Daniel Markel had custody of the children? Now, it is important to note that Danny had custody of the kids on July 18th, and he also had custody of the kids on that June 4th date. Now, remember, this is summer, and so in the off date, in the summer season, the person that was out of custody, didn't have custody that week, would have the children on a Wednesday night. So on both the June trip and the ultimate murder trip, Wendy had custody of the kids that Wednesday. Now, I don't think that this is necessarily that great of an argument because in any event, both parents work. And so if there was going to be a murder for hire, it's going to, the boys were never without their parents unless they were in school. And so to me, it practically makes sense that whenever the murder for hire was going to take place, it was going to probably take place when those boys were safely tucked away in their preschool. That's just my thought on how you would argue against that. What do you guys think? Now, the fifth puzzle piece is financial evidence. And I think this again goes into the extortion portion of the defense. Now, Charlie said he saw Katie the day before the murder on July 17th for lunch. And his kind of doubt there is that if this was a murder for hire, why didn't she get the money from him then? But my argument against that is, well, why would you give somebody money for a murder for hire that hasn't taken place yet? Now, I think what's the better argument is that he says, well, if we're trying to do a murder for hire, why would we place her on the books of the Adelson Institute? They're creating a paper trail. And my argument to that is, well, that is true. But possibly they thought it was so under the radar. It's such a small amount. It might be feasible that Katie did work for them. Remember, Katie had been working at another dental office when she met Charlie Adelson. So therefore, is it that unreasonable to think that she might be working a few hours a week for Charlie Adelson? Now, the final puzzle piece is the Dolce Vita recording and wiretaps. This is where Rashbaum actually says that they prove Charlie's innocence. Now, we know this is a huge piece of evidence for the state. So with respect to proving innocence, Rashbaum said that he is going to go over the Dolce Vita recording and the wiretaps, and he's going to show that it proves his innocence. And in fact, they're happy about the idea that it could be the police, because that if the police, it's them, they know they're safe. But if it's a thug, they could be killed. And so therefore, if it was really a murder for hire, they would be nervous if it was the police, because that means the police is onto them. I need to see this line by line analysis by Rashbaum, because I don't think that's what the Dolce Vita tapes, from a reasonable interpretation, I don't think that's what they said. Is there evidence where Charlie says, yes, we hope it's the police? Yes. And I went over that in my video where I talk about the Dolce Vita recording from Charlie's perspective. But when you view all of it in its entirety, you view the Dolce Vita recording all of it, and you review those wiretaps, I don't know that you get there, but I'm very interested to see what Daniel Rashbaum tells us, because remember, he promised us that he's going to give us a detailed explanation of how these recordings prove Charlie's innocence. And indeed, there's one wiretap call where Rashbaum said, you know, it's talking about the layers, and the second layer, I think this is the April 29th call. And this is where Rashbaum says that when he heard the call, it gave him goosebumps. He loved it. And again, I'm going to be waiting to see, you know, what does he have to say? What is the recent innocent explanations for all of these wiretaps? So what do you guys think? I'm super interested in hearing what the defense has to say on all of these puzzle pieces. I will have my list out and be checking them off. And I'm also super interested to see if Charlie Adelson testifies. In my opinion, as I said, when I commented on the opening statements, based on the defense's theory, I don't think there's any way that Charlie can't. I don't think that there's any way that Charlie doesn't testify. I think the defense needs him on the stand to make these explanations, to say why the Dolce Vita and the wiretaps prove his innocence. So anyway, what do you guys think? I hope to see you in my next one, and thanks so much for listening. Bye.